Alrighty. I think we're all set. Right here. Interesting. Okay. Green on. Hello everybody, it's me. I'm back again with another video today. I got 3 more pots coming at you. I have some old stoneware. I'm kind of in my, you know, when a car gets out of gas, right, and it has the reserve switch for like motorcycles and stuff, like reserve gas tank. Right now I'm on my reserve gas tank of clay, so I really need to get clay tomorrow, like no exceptions, or I won't really have a good couple videos. So I'm gonna be getting some more clay. I usually get it in batches of like 600 to 800 pounds of clay, you know, and that'll last me maybe like a month or something, I don't know. But anyway, I'll see you guys over there in a second. I got 3 more pots for you guys, so I'll see you there. Green off. Okay. Turn this off. You can also see my wheel is clean, so I cleaned my wheel. So that's kind of exciting. A couple of fun things. But here we go. I'm going to switch over to wedging table. We got the first one. Wheel. Okay. A little bit of water. Water right on the. Sometimes this gets like the crunchy stuff on it. I just don't want that, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna get that off. Zaku fan said good morning. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Alright, here we go. Oh, so look at this. We have all those sort of little bumps. So we want to make sure we get all that out. So I'm going to kind of do one of these little things. I'm just making sure there's no little weird air bubbles. Just because yesterday we had one that had a bunch of air bubbles under the surface. You know, I think air bubbles exploding in the kiln, I've never really had happen to me personally, but air bubbles disturbing my throwing process, I don't like, you know. But anyway, here we go. Hand right underneath. Slowly bring this up. Nice. A little bit more water underneath. Keep my hand there. Bring this up. Alrighty. One more right underneath. There we go. And this clay is really hard, so I can't bend it too much. Just a little bit's okay though. Alright, pushing my hand down, right to the bottom. There we go. I have my hammer fist going right down, pulling this out to my body, centered, right? Then all we're gonna do, we're gonna pierce right through this bottom here. There we go. A bit more water. That looks pretty good. One more. Nice. Alrighty. I'm going to use my little hook fingers here, right? and I'm cutting through that bottom surface, right? That's how I'm moving that. You know, whenever I'm moving that clay, I'm not imagining that I'm pushing the material around. I always imagine if I'm cutting through it to open that up, right? Then I don't have to really push too hard, right? I just cut through and carve out my bottom rather than having to force the clay to move that way, right? Starting with my llama pole, and then after this pole we'll go over to camera B. So there we go, camera B. Thank you. Right to the bottom, I'm gonna get my knuckle right to this bottom edge. So remember, those first couple poles aren't really for anything other than to thin out the walls, right? So again, we're gonna do one small pole here just to test our thickness. Okay, our wall thickness is pretty good. Go right back down to the bottom. I think I got one more pole, so I'm gonna start a little bit down, then push that clay down. Again, move my hands just a little bit. And look where I'm ending my hands off, right? I'm right at 6 o'clock here. A lot of people drift up here. Keep yourself kind of locked in over in this corner here, right? And you can finish your poles really nice. Call this up. Okay, we got one more pole. Right to the bottom. Again, get a little bit of water right on my elbow here. Right underneath. Stay calm. Right? Just get that pole, don't stop, right? It's an elbow pole there. Get some of that water out of the interior. Nice. And so this is what you can do when the clay is a little bit hard, right? You can really get a great pull out of it. Oh, thanks, Zaku fan, I appreciate it. Okay. Get to the bottom edge. Look at the way it just feeds right into that top. I think this one's kind of cool. It almost reminds me of like a tree on top of a mountain. Right, and the spiral got really exaggerated there, so it's starting to collapse towards one direction a little bit. Just really liking the way this one looks. Wow. Okay. Go right to the bottom edge here. And then bring this out to the side. There we go. Keeping our eye on the top. If it falls or collapses, we want to be ready to sort of address that. Nice, look at that. Keeping an eye on that collapse, right? How's it looking? I think it's looking okay. Go right down, get some more water on here. And if I'm thinking about what I want to do on this bottom, right? I really got to pay attention. To what I want. Do I want tendrils going up the side? Do I kind of like it going a little bit wider here, right? Personally, you know, I always do tendrils on these ones, so maybe on this one I'll do something a little bit different, okay? Get a little bit more water. We want it to be just pretty thin. Round off that. Alright, here we go. Slow it down ever so slightly. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8. So we'll have a 4 flower. In, skip, in, skip, and in, right? And so right now you can see I have a 4 flower bottom here, right? 4 petals, I should say. I'm going to take some of this clay right off the bottom edge there, and then we got pot number 1 is done. Really thinking this one's looking crazy. Really tall pole too, so really liking the vibe. Hopefully it doesn't collapse, and if it does, hopefully it looks cool. Alright. Here we go, we're going to get off to number 2. Alright. Camera A. Ooh. Pot number 1 with 4 petals. Yeah, I think that one, I hope you're doing well, Noah. But yeah, I quite like that one. That one I think looks pretty good. I don't know why one of my edges is standing up taller than the other right now. Wondering if it may be something on the thing. Let's see. Back down. It's better. I am. Thank you, Noah. Dude, when you put 2 Noahs together, man, destruction occurs. Too much power in one place. Alright, so here we go. Here's the second one. So again, I have all these little holes and stuff on the bottom. I want to try to get those out. Alright, so here we go. Do a little like dreidel thing right on the bottom edge, so get rid of all of them. Then down, then push, right? Alright, I wonder what it looks like here. Wedging table. Oh, you can't really see the inside of that one. It's a shame. You can see it a little bit, but alright. Camera B. This clay is really hard. And so you can kind of feel how much I have to battle against that. So we're gonna go straight down, and then again right back up. And we're gonna go down again. And we're gonna go right back up. And then down again. And I'm sure you can guess what happens after that. Right back up, right? And I'm always imagining those two lanes of traffic, that push and that pull, right? This hand going and this hand coming towards, right? And it's that's gonna allow me to do it. Have a good day. Thanks. No, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Right to the bottom, and I go right up. So I started to tear a little bit right in that section there. And then this clay, we can't go too crazy with it, right? But we can go a little bit crazy. It's just because the clay's stiff, so it's only gonna handle so much. I'm making trees. I'll show you some of them. Camera A. Pottery shelf. So these are all my trees over here, right? And so I'm making all those trees. They're not really like normal traditional pots or anything, but they're thrown on the wheel. So I feel like one day I hope that they can break through to the idea of sculpture maybe. But right now they're kind of just a tool for me to make videos every day. So I make 3 of them every day. And then I'm almost at a year. So I got a couple rooms upstairs filled. Thank you. They're all kind of twisty. Everyone's a little bit loose, but they all have a standard rhythm to them and a process that I take them through. But yeah, I appreciate it. Okay, right down in the middle. Open this up. Okay. Cut through that bottom. There we go. And hold on, we'll swap back over to camera B. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna get ready for our first pole. This is that llama pole, right? So the llama's gonna come in and bite right on this rim here. And so this is that llama. Llama bites right on that rim. And then we're slowly bringing both our hands up. Again, one hand's going and one hand's coming towards. And we're gonna get a volcano. You know, our little llamas, they love volcanoes. Alright, then I'm gonna go right to the bottom here. Keep my, come back over here, sponge. I always think it's kind of fun, like, shoo. And then we're gonna right down to the bottom edge. Find our little bump. And this first pole is not really for anything too crazy. That's all we're trying to do is just equalize the wall thickness, right? And again, so you can kind of see how it's still a volcano, it's just slightly less steep, or more steep, I guess, right? And so we're going again right back to the bottom, and this is how I make cylinders. I always start with that little volcano. Again, my knuckles right at the bottom edge here. Just making sure I get right up underneath here. Always finding that bump. I'm a little bit thin on the top, so I'm going to collar this in ever so slightly. I'm going to get ready for my last pole here. So I'm going to wet my elbow just a little bit, right? Feeling the inside, have water go down, take a bead of water down this wall with my fingers here. right to the bottom edge. Start pushing that in. Just right at 5 o'clock. And look at the way I'm going to be projecting. So this part that I just passed, that's a really thin spot. But do you see what I'm doing with my elbow? I'm projecting it over to the other side. It's getting a little bit wobbly, but we're not going to freak out. We're just going to slow down and finish the pull. Wait, don't freak out. Just get to the top. Right when it's starting to buckle, right? Look at that. Okay. Right to the bottom. Get our elbow in there. Okay, so it's starting to collapse, so I gotta hurry up. Okay, so we gotta go right over this little bump here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no. 1. So it kind of got messed up, but we're gonna keep with it. Follow those little veins all the way up. Okay. Now we gotta twist it down. Sometimes if I do the twist too much, you know, let's see. I think if I twist it out, it might rip it off, so I gotta be careful here. Get some water. Gotta be careful. It's totally ripped off, but that's as much as I could do. Push that down just a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that it's not going to fall off. Yeah. And so when I'm looking at it, it's probably going to want to fall off to this side, right? So just keeping that in mind as I'm finishing off the pot here. Is it falling just a little bit, huh? Again, really trying to make sure. I'm keeping it okay over here, right? So I'm trying to lean it over this way. It's going to be ideal. Okay, sweet. Just being very careful, right? Because it's not, it tore completely off, so that whole top part is just resting on there, essentially. And so I gotta just keep in mind that it's gonna wanna collapse and it's gonna wanna fall. And even it's getting water hydrated right now, so you can see it's wanting to dip down. Bring that over. Okay. So you can see it ripped. And I think it should not want to fall anymore, because I think it was going to fall the opposite direction. And since that kind of collapsed in that one side, I think it's totally going to be okay right now. I'm going to bring this out over here. I got my little pinky right underneath. Go ahead and bring this out. And I think when I look at this one, I personally see the wire tool in here. Is that clay or terracotta? Terracotta is like a clay, so I'm not sure what you mean. I'm writing this up right now. And I want to have this almost look like the tendril is becoming an arm and it's opening up. This rim, right? So look at the way that I have that tendril feeding right into the mouth of the pot there. So like terracotta, I think originally terracotta pots, right? It's like the final thing is called terracotta, right? But today in modern context, right, terracotta is just the type of clay. It's like an iron-rich clay. That's kind of what people talk about it in, right? But like it's the same as porcelain. We'd say porcelain clay, but porcelain is the actual finished object originally. And so, but it's just a normal stoneware clay body, right? It doesn't really mean too much other than the fact that it can go to higher temperatures where terracotta, you know, can't really go to those higher temperatures. Somebody said, what the actual, I can just say fuck. What the actual fuck? There's kind of like some wacky pots, you know? This one's particularly pretty wacky. I think this one looks just kind of weird. But all thrown on the wheel. I think this one goes way more, I mean, I'll talk about them all at the end. But I think personally when I look at this pot, it feels like it's trying to break into the realm of sculpture a little bit more, right? There's something that's so flowy, so kind of loose about that pot that I think drives its way away from the pattern and repetition that the wheel sort of gives. And so it really breaks a lot of those moments. All right, camera A. I go right down. You got one more pot to go. Show my face. It's a weird thing to ask. No offense, Hunter. You'll probably see my face, but I'm not. I mean, you could probably see it right now. It's just a weird thing to ask. For me, it's like, it's not really I think so much of pottery nowadays is all about the way somebody looks or presents themselves, right? And so I think that a lot of times the way someone looks or presents themselves ends up determining whether their work is good or not, right? In a social context, right? And so for me, that's all I want is to kind of break that trend, and I want it to be more about like my work rather than what I look like or the perception of me, right? Alrighty. Oh, Emo, you're back. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Which country am I from? I'm American. From America. But again, I feel like my thing is that, you know, you're doing good, that's good, Emo. But for me, like in India, this is very underrated. I don't really know what you mean. Like the pots I'm making underrated? I mean, I don't. That's fine. Alright. Did you steal this profession from Iraq? Throwing on the wheel? No. I feel like I've gotten like some like interesting folk in my YouTube chat. Well, I think a lot of people from different countries and stuff. I'm assuming you're from Iraq then, Ollie? And then Hunter, I'm assuming you're from India. Thanks, Ricardo, I appreciate it. I mean, pottery's been around the world for thousands and thousands of years. All sorts of cultures have made their own sort of thing. Wow, it's so interesting. What a diverse group that we have here. But I think cultures from all around the world have done pottery, right? And so every single culture has got to have their little stake or their forms and their things. And so for me, I'm not trying to make pots that have been made for thousands and thousands of years. I'm trying to make pots that, you know, haven't been made, right? And if I do that now, or if that happens sometime during my life, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, right? And so for me, pottery's like not just like a functional thing, it's a thing for me to test my mind and test myself. Ollie was kidding with you? You're kidding with me? You're not from Iraq? Okay, no worries. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you're from to me, you know? And then Hunter said, I was scrolling through YouTube and your stream came. Isn't that kind of cool? I think, you know, I also, one of my videos got a couple million views on my shorts, and like 40% of them are from India. So it seems like India is very into the pottery realm, perhaps, or maybe there's just a lot of Indian potters that do like YouTube or something. I'm not really sure. But I just noticed that when I was looking at the demographics, there was a lot of Indian viewers. Alright, there's that first poll. Color this in ever so slightly. We'll go to camera B. Camera B. Alright, here we go. Right down to the bottom. We got one more knuckle pull. One of the most beautiful industries is pottery. Yeah, I don't know if I think of it as industry. Obviously there is industry of pottery, right? And it's really interesting. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos, and maybe you've seen some of them, Hunter, of for Diwali, right? We use that pottery like a ball, but with a hole in the top to keep it in. It stays cold in the summer. Yeah, I've seen some of those. I was looking at the ceramic, what is the sponge I use for my work? I don't know. I got this in a reclaim bucket at my job. I get to mix reclaim and stuff, and then so it's just probably a natural sponge. But Hunter, I've seen some of those, the pottery fridges, right, to keep food like refrigerated using like a pottery container or something, or a ceramic container. And then I've also seen during Diwali, when they're doing all those little the lamps, that all the people will make tons and tons of the little ceramic lamps. And even for like some street food stuff, a lot of it is in like little like ceramic cups, which I thought it was just so interesting. It's such a different kind of I guess way to consume food that I don't really get to partake in America, right? So it's just kind of cool to see that stuff. And I see in a lot of like people in India too, they're using the giant stones and they have somebody spin it with the stick, and then it just spins because the stone's probably so heavy. It's just really cool to watch people throw. In Indian villages for cold water, they use pottery so they don't need electricity for cold water. Yeah. Alright, right down to the bottom here. Oh, it looks like my music is turned off now. What is even in the background here? Let's see. We'll pick something. Let's pick something maybe groovy. Some beats maybe, actually. Yeah, I love looking at, even in I was watching a video of some of the Chinese potters in a place called Jingdezhen, and they were having like 3 dudes like on making one giant pot the size of like a kiddie pool, you know. It's insane. So it's kind of cool. Alright, right down to the bottom here. And so as I'm doing this slowly, you can see how it's slowly twisting up, right? Okay. In Iraq countryside, they use pottery a lot. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I wonder if there's any like documentaries or Iraqi potters that you know of that you could drop their names. Maybe I'd like to see some of that stuff. I feel like one day, there was a group of two gentlemen. Name was Bernard Leach and Shoji Hamada, right? I think one of them was a European dude and another one was Shoji Hamada was Japanese. And they got to travel the world doing pottery demonstrations, right? And I just think to myself, how cool would that be to, just figure out my own style of pottery and then be able to do demonstrations around the world, right? Like, I think that would just be just amazing. I get to meet all sorts of different potters from around the world, and we can share ideas and thoughts on a material that we're all in contact with, right? And so I always think that something cool with pottery is that we're all manipulating earth, right? And so I think I'm not a Muslim, but during Ramadan, I'm not sure if you all know what Ramadan is, and I only have limited knowledge on it, but you can't eat. You have to do like sort of fasting, and then at a certain time, you get to eat, right? And I thought about it, and I was like, what a beautiful thing is, like, you might be eating alone, but people all around the world wait a certain time, right, to start eating, right? And so you kind of are together in action and together with the process that you're going through, right? And so it's really, really kind of a beautiful thing. And so I thought the same thing is, like, if I'm on the wheel and somebody across the world is also on a wheel spinning clay, we're sort of respecting each other and we're together in process, right? And so I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but just something I kind of picked up recently in my thoughts and stuff. Somebody said Ramadan is beautiful in the Middle East. Yeah, I can imagine. Have you played that pottery making game on your mobile phone? No, I have not. Are you talking about the one where you kind of just like push? Maybe like when I was really young, there was a game like that I played, but I haven't really played pottery games recently. Like Egypt, Iraq, Morocco. Yeah. Right now I live in Michigan, right? There's a high population of Middle Eastern individuals in Michigan. So I think I get exposed to a lot of those sort of practices of the Middle East just by being around a lot of people whose families come from the Middle East. Here we go, curling up. But again, I just like always trying to find different ways and practices in life that seem to find their way into like the pottery practice, right? I think today's pots are beautiful, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. The thing I did is like the football World Cup. As being American, there is a lot of Americans who are really into, you call it football, like we call soccer, But for this case, I'll just call it football. But we like American football. I think the Super Bowl is really popular, and so I always thought that was the biggest sporting event. And then I saw like a World Cup clip, and I was like, oh my gosh! I forget that football is it's a world sport, where American football is just a country's sport. Yeah. just have this over here. To the side. Maybe move that just a tad over. Just a tad over here, just like that. Interesting. Okay. Move this over top, right on this edge here. And we want to have these. I mean, this is just a really. All right, camera A. Camera A. Oh. Yeah, this is an image, all right. It's cutting off that top a little bit. It's a little bit tall, but I'm not gonna just stress about that a little too much. And then I noticed that the focus seems a little bit off. I feel like that's a little bit better. All right, and we're gonna do a little pottery review here. Green on. Hello everybody, it's me, Pottery Demon here. I'm gonna have you guys look at this one over here first. I think, first off, this is the first pot of the day. I think that spiral was really nice. I gave a large buffer. I usually do tendrils on these sort of pots, but instead I did the 4 petals. Have a really nice tree. I like how the spiral's kind of collapsing. This one over here, this was the tallest pot of the day, right, before I collapsed it, and it started collapsing really weird, but then I sort of kind of went with it, right, and just allowed it to nest and nestle where it needed to, and I allowed the tendrils to come up over that rim, trying to bring some intention back into the pot, really starting to break through from pottery into sculpture, perhaps. And that's the green off. Camera, wait, not camera, computer. All right, so I'm over here. And the one right below my feet here, right? This one right here is like, I don't know, it's just a normal pot, nothing too crazy about it. I think it's doing some things very naturally, right? Like I like the tendrils on it, I like the twist on it, but nothing's kind of screaming out like the other two. But that's all I got for me today. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and strong mentality.